Yes, hello. New intro, new look, as you can see. Yeah, welcome to the EVP Xero Show. I'm Zero as normal. And obviously I'm joined by my co-host as normal. I'll pass you over to him to introduce himself.
What's going on, everybody? I am the EVP of the main event team, and we are back for the EVP Zero Show. Brand new look, brand new song, brand new day. Ready to
Yeah,
get going?
and yeah, and we also as well are also now streaming as well live on CJ's X for the first
Yeah,
time for a while.
yes.
Yeah, so we're actually doing that now as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, we've got the music and intro back. Yes, we have Ed. Yes, and it's brand new one as well, as you can see. But yeah, first of all, then, so we need to cover some of the news. Obviously, this week, it's been a pretty bad week. First of all, we've obviously lost on Tuesday. The world lost Ozzy Osbourne. Obviously, massive fan of wrestling. He was obviously he had a lot of things to do with WWE, but obviously more well known for the heavy metal and stuff that he was doing. Such a sad loss. Obviously, like 14 days after it. It was like 14 days, no, 14 or 17 days after the concert. I can't remember what it was. He done it. But yeah, so we've got that was all that, and obviously today we had we also then lost Hulk Hogan today via cardiac arrest. So yeah, and I can see as well in the comments as well that Ed lost his trainer on the 11th as well. So been a lot of people sort of gone really at the moment. So first of all, before we get on to things, we'll just go through some of the comments, and I can start displaying them again now. So Gwen, okay, let's get hopping. We're burning daylight. That's true, yeah. Ed said acknowledge us. Les said love it from Acknowledge Dynasty. Hello, Leslie. Thank you for joining us this week. What we got? Modest music, rest in power, Hulkster. Yep, as he would say, rest in power. I don't know whether you can see the comments on Twitter. We're still experimenting with that. You might be able to, you might not be able to. It does say to us you can't show them, but if you can't see them, you can't see them. That's why I'm going to read them off. Couple of other bits and pieces on there. Gwen Anderson, let's get some good news. Keys edits, that's Ryan. Look at that layout, to be honest. Yeah, we know why he's saying that, but Ed's apparently now watching on X, according to him now. Michael Place says sad times. Mario C, my childhood is gone. I'm heading to Clearwater Beach tomorrow to his shop and bar. And then Michael Place said AEW banned from the Discord. You said, no, that was a joke. And then Edward, rest in peace to Hulk Hogan, my trainer, Ozzy Osbourne, and Michael Jamal Warner. Yeah, Michael Jamal Warner as well as one. So that's some of the comments. So we might as well discuss them. Yeah.
I just wanted to touch a little bit about the Hulk Hogan situation before you move on. Obviously, I made a post on X. As I said, he has a controversial side to him, as some of the stuff he said, like some of the stuff that he's done as Terry Bollea. But growing up as a child, I grew up idolizing Hulk Hogan. He was my first, he's what got me into professional wrestling. So I'm not like trying to like start a war with the IWC or anything like that, but everybody's entitled to feel how they want to feel about Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea passing away, but celebrating it and stuff like that. I think you're crossing a line there, because it doesn't matter if you don't like someone or not. You don't. I personally don't wish death on anyone, whether I like them or not. He put WWF, WCW on the map. Obviously, there was wrestling before him, but he's the one that started the mainstream, and so many people looked up to him. And I feel like a piece of my childhood is gone, to be honest with you. But it's a sad day. I don't really agree, like I said, with people that you see people that are posting the video like of people like him coming out of his house on the stretcher and the EMTs working on him. Like, people, that's just wild. people deserve their privacy. You know, his family, like he is a father at the end of the day to Nick and Brooke, and to post that stuff online is just, I don't agree with it. I think that, you know, that should have been kept private. We lost an icon from the wrestling business. Like I said, I don't agree with the stuff that he said. He did have neck surgery, so I don't know if that he died of cardiac arrest apparently. But rest in peace, Hulk. But yeah, it's a big loss.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I put something out as well earlier saying that, like, I've seen a lot of people sort of celebrating it, and that's not right at all. You know, at the end of the day, as I put out in my tweet earlier, because I rarely ever tweet anymore now, but when I do, obviously, I'd normally go on to say something controversial or something, whatever, it's like that. But yeah, I did put out on there that people who are actively celebrating Hulk's death, it's not right, because at the end of the day, he is a father and husband and everything like that, basically. Yeah, and it's not right at all. So yeah, that one. So if anyone is obviously listening who is actively celebrating it, don't be an idiot and just stop. Basically, you know, at the end of the day, yes, it might have been. Yes, you might have thought it was funny and stuff at the time, but it's not. It's not. Um, yeah. So before we carry on, then there's not actually that much news that's come down today, because obviously the entire news has been dominated by Hulk Hogan's death and everything like that. So we'll quickly go through things like that from here. Let's just go through some of the other comments. So Michael Play said 10 bell salute tomorrow, probably. It wouldn't surprise me if they do something like that. I even turned around and made a comment earlier in that, and turned around and said, like, tomorrow they should just dedicate the entire show to Hulk. You know, I turned around and said, scrap storylines. I know we're like a week before SummerSlam or whatever, but they can pick up the storylines again from Monday. You know, they don't need that long. Scrap the storylines, just dedicate the entire show tomorrow to Hulk. That would probably be the people are going to hate it, fans might hate it, but it's, at the end of the day, he's a WWE legend, and that's what they could do. They probably won't. It probably will be a 10 bell salute with all the wrestlers and that on the stage to open the show up or whatever, or just a graphic. But you know, if they are right, if they did want to do something right, then you know they could have obviously done that one. Mario C, absolutely Michael. Oh, hang on, I might as well display it. Forgot to do that. Mario C, absolutely Michael Plays. We would not be watching wrestling today if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan. That's true. Because again, this is another thing that I was saying to somebody earlier on as well, was if you think about WWE, you think about Hulk Hogan, you know, and it even says a lot when Vince McMahon today has even tweeted to say that the world's lost a legend and stuff. You know, when you've got Vince tweeting, then you
Well,
know it's sort of like it's hit bad, basically.
well,
If you think about it.
you got Vince tweeting. You had Donald Trump. You had Linda McMahon. You've had Triple
Yeah,
H.
yeah,
Everybody like Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Ted
yeah,
DiBiase did a video on
yeah.
X. I mean, it's
Ric Flair actually had an interview with TMZ afterwards, and he was in floods of tears as well. And that's Ric
mhm,
Flair's done one. Chelsea Green appeared on, I think it was CNN. If I
mhm.
remember rightly, she actually appeared on there, and she made it quite clear. She turned around and said, even she turned around and said, look, putting the politics and stuff aside that Hulk had, well, what Terry had, basically, what Terry was involved with, basically, and somebody of a scandal, she turned around and said, at the end of the day, he actually helped a lot of the wrestlers backstage, and if it wasn't for Hulk, then there wouldn't be a WWE, basically, and there wouldn't be half the stars that we have today. We wouldn't have, you know, so you wouldn't have your Roman Reigns, you wouldn't have anyone like that, basically, because no, Hulk was a legend, an icon in the ring, and obviously that was from TNA when he done his time in there as well, his time in WCW, his time in WWE, everything like that. It's yeah, it's a big loss for the rest of the world. We are spending a bit of time on this, but obviously it's such big news. Let's just quickly go back through the comments. So Michael Mario C, sorry. Feel how you want to feel, but show some respect. Michael, we lost Ozzy and Hulk Hogan in the same week. Yep. And then apparently he had neck surgery and he hasn't
Mhm.
recovered well yet. That was the thing. Ed, yes, we can see your comments. It's just that we can't display them from there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Ryan's to man said, yes, can see them from here. I believe Ryan's logged in as me. Because that's
No,
obviously like,
that was me that actually messaged
oh,
back.
that was you, was it?
I don't know why it come up
Okay.
as yours, but
All right. Oh, yeah, that'd be me then. Yes, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because I'm logged in as me. Oh, I don't know, actually. I don't know
yeah,
why it is.
It's showing up. I said yes to
I don't
Kenzie
know.
here, and it popped up
I
yours.
have no
So
clue. I have no clue. Yeah, so that's that one there. Let's have a look at Ed. I don't care about politics at all. This has nothing to do with my love. That that has nothing to do with my love for professional wrestling. That's true. Elliot, I woke up right when I got the Hogan news. Yeah, a lot of people done that one. And then modest music. People are going after Vince for paying respect to Hogan. I applaud him for being a human. Yeah, that's one of the other things as well. What I found quite sickening today was I looked at the Vince McMahon post because I thought there's going to be some horrible people in there, and it was most of the comments is they've posted the gif of Goldberg saying "You're next." And that, and like, there's a fair few comments on there saying Vince is next. Let's hope he's the next one, and stuff like that. And it's just some sick comments on there, and that from some of the people in the IWC. And this is why now, basically, I'm not in the IWC anymore. Roughly, this is why now this is why now I'm exclusively to Discord and somewhere else, which I'll get into at the end of the show. Ed said he met Hulk Hogan in November as well. Yeah, and I will say as well that Bobby, obviously, who works with me as well, and obviously my co-host on Cut, he actually met Hulk Hogan as well. He's got pictures and everything for that, and he's been posting them earlier on. So yeah, so that's that as well. Yeah, well, let's move on then from that one. Unless you've got anything else you want to say on the whole Hulk and or Ozzy Osbourne thing before we move on.
no, I mean, just I've said everything I need to say on it. I don't want to just keep harping on it, but yeah.
No, fair enough. Okay. Well, okay then. So one of the only other bits of news that's really come down this week is on July 22nd, so that was actually on Tuesday, WWE filed a interesting trademark, which was for the name Super Brawl. It's an old WCW trademark. Now, if I remember rightly, the last time they done that was actually during the Super Bowl. So I don't know whether it's just. Uh, I was saying this yesterday actually because we done a special show, special uncut and stuff, and we were talking about this. It's more than likely going to be an NXT pay per view or an NXT special, and that they're probably going to use that for. Now, I don't know when that could be. I don't know whether they're going to wait and they've obviously got it by again maybe for the Super Bowl and they're going to do something around that week or something like that, or whether they're literally just going to put that on as an extra show. So but normally the WCW names when they're copyright or when they're trademarked and stuff for and as an event and stuff, it's because that's what it's been trademarked under. Is they're normally for NXT. They are, but yeah, that's that's obviously that's one of the other things there. Yeah, like I said, there's not been a lot of news down this week because of the whole Hulk and Aussie stuff and that for it. Can you think of anything else really news wise at the moment? I think
Not really.
no. Obviously that was the other thing as well. Actually, we might as well get into this. Is the tag match now for SummerSlam has been officially made between with Roman and Jay versus the Bronze. So that's Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed. I think we all knew that was coming. Everyone thought it was going to be originally it was obviously meant to be Roman versus Seth, but then Seth's injury derailed all that. So yeah, it's obviously this tag match. Now I like the way they set it up. There was obviously Roman was basically online, basically begging Jay to basically begging Jay to join him. And now whilst he was doing it on the treadmill, saying like, you need to trust, can you trust me one more time? And then Jay responded back and someone said, my tribal chief and stuff, it's
Yeah, he was like super close to the camera. Like
yeah.
I don't know if he had a couple of drinks in him or whatever, but he was super close to the camera. A lot of this is just wild. I got a short coming out soon on it.
Yeah.
But the Seth Rollins situation, the IWC is just they mold these fantasy booking situations, and they're still on this Seth Rollins as a work thing. I don't really think this was a match that was planned. I think this, like you said, I think the injury caused this to be a tag match.
Well, yeah, that was the thing is that it was meant to be Roman versus Roman versus Seth. That was the original plan, and then the Usos were meant to be reforming as a tag team and basically going up against the Bronze, and that was the reason why they obviously done sort of like all that. Talking about that actually as well, it's been said by WrestleVotes, I do believe, that Jimmy is moving to Raw as soon as next week, basically. Well, either next week or just after SummerSlam, he'll be on Raw. So we all knew that was coming. Seeing as obviously that Naomi's champion and that she's moved to Raw now, we all knew that Jimmy was coming over. So it does seem like the OG bloodline are reforming. So we're obviously going to have the bloodline basically on the two brands there. So you're going to have your Solo Sikoa bloodline, and then with Jacob on that side or whatever, with them feuding against them, Jacob and a few others there, and then obviously they're going to have your Roman-led bloodline on Raw for it. So that's going to be quite interesting. They're obviously moving Jimmy and that across.
They also reported today that they're wanting to do Brian Breaker and Roman Reigns. That it's a WrestleMania type match, so I don't expect people are wanting to see it at Clash in Paris, but I think they're going to hold off on that.
Well, I know they're meant to be doing a big match for Clash in Paris in regards to Roman. Now I don't know what that match actually is, but there obviously is there's a big match planned. So I mean, they could still do, but then again, that was also planned in before before Seth's injury. So I don't know whether that's obviously been like rewrote and like replanned in now and everything like that, really. So it's difficult to say at the moment. But if it was me and they were saying a big match for it, then I would possibly do Roman versus Braun there in Clash at Paris, because they tend to give the international shows big matches now, because they want to give them that big moment and obviously try and see which country can outdo the other countries on the pops and on the loudness as well during the matches. So if anything, I could see if they are going to do Roman Braun, do it then basically, or something along those lines. I don't know what you think. Do you think it's going to be WrestleMania? Do you think it could be sooner or what? Really?
I mean, it sounds like that. It sounds like they want to hold it off for like a big. Maybe they want to do a longer build for it, because I think in that scenario that possibly Roman could be putting Braun over. So I don't know. I mean, if The Rock is still in the picture for WrestleMania, like obviously that's going to play a big part. But I mean, they could do it in Paris, but I think that's a WrestleMania match. But we'll see.
Well, I can see from in the comments, Ed Toman said they should do Bronson versus Roman in Paris. I mean, they could do that. That'd be a big match. Gives Bronson Reed as well that big match as well for Paris. What we got here? Elliot 15. Some more news I saw was The Rock is unlikely to return at SummerSlam. I'm going to say this to everybody. Nobody knows The Rock's plans. The Rock could. I said this on a. I said this, I think, actually in the ATD space the other day. Is literally Dwayne could show up tomorrow. Dwayne could literally just ring up Triple H and be like, right, I'm showing up, basically, and they've got to rewrite the entire show as he rings up, and that's how much notice he needs to give. He could literally turn around and say, I'll be at the arena in an hour, or I'll be there within an hour and stuff, and he could show up 2 hours before Raw or 2 hours before SmackDown and just literally just be like, I'm showing up tonight, fit me in, basically, either at the start, at the end of the show, or midway through. Basically, it'll just be find me a slot me in, give me a 20 or 30-minute slot to do what I want to do, and that's what it is. So anyone turning around and saying he's unlikely to return at SummerSlam, nobody knows.
Because
I've seen the report and it says no internal plans and stuff like that at the moment, but he wouldn't be on any internal plans because he is the internal plans. Basically, he as Ed Man just said in the comments, I can see is that's what happens when you're the boss, and that's true.
I mean,
he just shows up.
They can't say internally because the guy's like one of the heads on the board for DKOs. So you also have to look at the clues and stuff, because like obviously they turned this into a street fight for a reason. It's gonna be I think there's gonna be probably 5-6 people that get involved in this match. So you don't know.
I personally think we're getting a WrestleMania 40 ending again. where we're going to have
Probably.
literally everybody come out. You know, like what happened in the Roman Cody match. I think we're going to literally have probably everybody come out. Like anyone who John's wronged, anyone who John's feuded with this year is probably going to come out and help Cody. You know, you're probably then going to have anyone who is any heels or whatever who John's team up with. So again, you're probably going to have Logan Paul come back out and stuff and help out during it. You know, you're probably going to have another couple of heels and stuff like that come out and help John and that during the match. And you know, you literally it's just going to be a free for all. Like I said, I personally can see the WrestleMania 40 happening, WrestleMania 40 ending happening again, where literally for a good 10 minutes solid, you literally just have entrance after entrance after entrance of interference, and that basically. And yeah, I can also see again in the comments, hello Money, just someone just said also the Rock controls his schedule. That's correct. Like I said, he could literally just ring up and just be like to Triple H, like, I'm showing up, I'll be there within the hour, and that, and Triple H can't say no. You know, Triple H can't come in and say, oh, but I've wrote the entire show out. That's tough shit. You know, you basically Triple H rewrites that entire show. He'll have to rewrite that entire show just to accommodate for the Rock, and that. So you know, Rock could literally ring up an hour. Rock could literally ring him a couple of hours before SummerSlam starts, and someone says, "I'm opening SummerSlam," you know, and that like I'm opening SummerSlam, or I'm going to be involved in the main event of SummerSlam, and Triple H can't say no. He literally just, you know, if he turns around and says, "I'm going to be there," then he's going to be there no matter what, and that's the thing. No, nobody. The only person who can tell him what to do is Ari. You know, Ari. I can't say his name, so I'm just going to say Ari. You know, and so yeah, that's the only one that will basically do it that way. You know, yeah. So yeah, it's not. Nobody can say anything. So all these reports of he's not showing up at SummerSlam and stuff like that, and you know he's not scheduled it internally is bullshit because nobody knows. Nobody knows whatsoever. You know, he could show up, he might not show up. I'm not saying anything and stuff for it, but he's don't just go by that report because we've seen what happened before with things like that. You know, it was Rock's definitely not going to be there. He's not going to be there. Then literally 10 minutes before the show, oh my god, Rock's backstage. You know, that's sort of what it is, and that's yeah. We've gone off on a spill there, but that's that one there. Yeah, so that's the news and stuff. The only other things that's obviously happened this week, and there is some big news involved in this. Did you watch TNA in the end of the weekend?
I didn't watch it, but I caught the highlights on
Fair enough,
on
yeah. So well, I'm just
YouTube.
thinking if we quickly go through TNA, because that was obviously their big pay-per-view, that was obviously sort of like equivalent to sort of their WrestleMania, which was SummerSlam, and there were some big moments what happened in there as well. So I'll just quickly run through them. We obviously had there was 3 matches in the end on the pre-show. If anyone does watch TNA or did watch the pay-per-view, let us know in the comments. Like I said, join in as it goes along as well. So yeah, we have 3 matches on the pay-per-view. So you had the Elegance brand versus the Inspiration, which was obviously used to be the Iconics, in which the Elegance brand beat the Iconics to retain the Knockouts World Championship. You then had a singles match where Eric Young came out and started fighting with the fans and was saying like, oh, you know, I'm better than everyone here and that, and he actually challenged fans to jump the guardrail to face him in the ring, and in the end, the hometown, he's called the Hometown Man, came out, and his whole gimmick is like the El Grande Americano one where he's wearing a mask and stuff, and like the Hometown Man is from whichever hometown it is, apparently wherever they're doing a show, that's his hometown. You know, he doesn't actually have a hometown, it's just it's wherever the show is that week. And then we had the debut of Zilla Fatu as part of what's called the Rope Breakers. He was there with Enzo Amore, which is now called Real One, and Josh Bishop. And they defeated the tag team of Steve Macklin, Jake Something, and Mance Warner. The only thing that I had the issue with that one is Enzo talked for about 10 minutes non-stop, so they could have fitted in more ring time. You know, they had about a 5-minute match in the end, it was. And you know, and that was because Enzo just would not shut up. But this is Enzo Amore, so you know, you can't really blame people for that one. Yeah, for that. So that's that. Yeah, another couple of things then. So we then moved on to the main event. Oh, well, we moved on then to the main show. So you had Mustafa Ali versus Cedric Alexander, in which Mustafa Ali beat Cedric. Now, one of the highlights from that was Tasha Steeles took a lombard check and she sold it really well. She sold that excellently for that one. I've never seen someone sell it that well. You then have the System with Matt Cardona versus Dark State, in which the System and Matt Cardona won that one. That was an 8-man tag. Indy Hartwell defeated Tessa Blanchard in a singles match, in which afterwards Tessa Blanchard went mental, and now she's been suspended from TNA indefinitely, they've come out and said. We then have the winner take all match for the TNA Knockouts Championship and the NXT Women's Championship, in which JC Jane defeated Masha Slamovich. So obviously, we've sort of got that, we've now got JC as a double champion, which we'll actually talk about that in a bit, to who we think is going to defeat JC for what titles, because I have a few ideas there. Leon Slater as well defeated Moose to be the new X Division champion. Now, I got this a little bit wrong. Leo did correct me yesterday. The X Division Championship is basically sort of their mid-card title. And it's been held by the likes of like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, stuff like that. And obviously, talking about AJ Styles, he showed up after the match to present Leon Slater with that title. An interesting thing there that came down, I can't remember who reported it, but there was a report come out saying that AJ was actually meant to have a bigger role and he was meant to be doing something with Frankie Kazarian at the event. But the reason why they decided to change it up was because they didn't want fans basically to get their hopes up of a match of AJ basically wrestling in TNA, because it might never happen. That's what it is basically. And then we then moved in then to the 4-way ladder tag team match, in which the Hardy Boys defeated the Nemeths, the Rascals, and First Class. There was a couple of highlights from there. AJ Francis basically jumped off the top of a ladder and almost killed everyone and almost knocked himself out in the process. The Hardys obviously are now the new TNA World Tag Team Champions. And afterwards, Bully Ray, or Bubba Ray Dudley, as some people might know him by, came out and actually challenged the Hardys to a match at Bound for Glory in October. They haven't said what the match will be, but I'm assuming it's going to be a tables match, because Bully Ray did turn around and say that we will hear for the last ever time Devon get the tables. So it seems to be that it's probably going to be a tables match, but with the Hardys involved, I would have thought maybe they would do like a TLC match or something,
Mm-hmm.
But it won't, it's not called a TLC match in TNA. It's Leah reminded me of this one as well. It's called Full Metal Mayhem or something.
Yeah.
So they could probably do that one. And then the main event was Trick Williams retained his TNA World Championship against Joe Hendry and Mike Santana. So just going through some of that then. So going back to the JC Jane thing then, who do you think might defeat JC for both of those titles, like individually? I have a couple of ideas for it, and we were obviously discussing this. But I hear your ideas first, see what you think, really, for it.
I'm not really sure on the TNA side. I don't follow it as much as you guys do. I think Blake Monroe is gonna probably be the one to take. I know she's a heel, but I mean, and maybe they put it on somebody like gosh, what's her name? The one that's the NXT North American champion. They could do that. Like she's really yeah. Sol Ruka, Jada Parker, somebody like that. Sol Ruka's really over right now. So I mean, if they're gonna put it on a face, I think it would be her, but she'd have to drop that other title first. TNA, I have no idea, honestly.
No, fair enough. I will say as well, if anyone wants to get involved in the comments, don't forget to do that. And we will get the comments up on the screen. Also, as well, I've noticed that this is actually our highest at the moment live viewership. So thank you for tuning in at this moment in time. But yeah, my thoughts on this one is, after what went down in NXT, I can potentially see either Blake Monroe taking one of the titles in time as a heel and having that title run as a heel, or for now they put it on Lash Legend because she's so
Yeah.
over on that at the moment, and that she is so over and stuff, and people she's got a big fan base behind it, or someone like Jada Parker. Either Jada Parker or Lash Legend can take one of them, and then the TNA side one. Again, we sort of discussed this yesterday on Uncut, and we think it's going to be someone like Indy Hartwell, because if they put it on Indy Hartwell because she defeated Tessa Blanchard, then they can then bring Tessa back after her indefinite suspension or whatever it is to then sort of take the title off of Indy, because she's got nuclear heat on her at the moment. That her heat is worse than Dominic Mysterio's heat when he was that massive heel and that before he won the Intercontinental Championship. And putting the Knockouts Championship on her, she'll get, she'll get booed out of that building, and that's what
Mega heat. Mega
she
heat.
would get mega heat if they put that title on her. She would get mega heat, and that's probably going to be one of the best things that they could do, is get that mega heat on Tessa and stuff, and obviously do it that way. In my eyes, anyway. Again, people want to comment, they can obviously do that one. I can see Ed saying Sol Ruka's got to go to the main roster. Yeah. He also said, as a black man, I don't get the hate on Tessa Blanchard. Give people a damn second chance. That's true. Yeah, do it that way. Yeah. So that was TNA. Obviously, you didn't watch it and stuff, but that's fine. If anyone did watch it, don't forget to leave a comment. We will happily bring that one up and stuff, and show your comments up on the screen and stuff like that. Obviously, get involved with the show. We do like to have people up here. Going back to the comments before we move on, then. So, where do we get to? So Elliot said crazy after all the Rock stuff. Ed said, well, SummerSlam would be easier since it's a premium live event. That's true. Moni, anyone who says anything about his schedule doesn't know he's a power player in Hollywood. He has control of his schedule. That's absolutely correct. Same thing with NXT. That was from Ed. Ed again. It would be easier for him to do it on Raw or a premium live event. True, basically, because they have unlimited time, or they have an unlimited amount of hours they have in the arena. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. That's very true. Elliot 15, Rock is friends with Ari. Yep, he is. Yeah. Then Ed cut the Enzo Amore promo. I'm not saying all that, and I'm not displaying that on the screen. Basically, that's too much to go on there. But yeah, that's some of that. Yeah. Anything that you can think of to bring up? Because I'm thinking where we're doing the big SummerSlam stream next week, there's no point doing predictions for that yet. So we'll go through for a change and review Raw and NXT. Obviously, talk about some of the big highlights from that really from this week. Anything that you can think of before we move on? Anyone got any questions in the comments or anything before we move on as well?
No, I mean, if we're gonna be talking about Raw, then obviously I can talk about it. Then I think that we got 10 matches so far. I can't see them going past 14. I'm thinking we're gonna see Priest and Aleister Black maybe added tomorrow, and I think maybe they're gonna do something with the belt like Nikki and Stephanie, maybe with Secret Service or something like that. Like you said, I think they're gonna try to do. They're gonna try to have a couple of like maybe the tag title matches and maybe the U.S. title on like the go homes. I don't think they're gonna get all the titles on there.
Yeah, well, this is the thing is what people need to remember as well is the networks actually request shows, actually request like matches and stuff for, especially around pay-per-views. So I could see, yeah, like what you said, one of the tag title matches potentially on SmackDown, another one on Raw and stuff. Because I don't think the tag titles are going to be making it onto SummerSlam, onto the card. I can't see that at all. Either one of them. If anything, they'll be on one of the go home shows or one of the shows around SummerSlam. Yeah, that's what I can see there. DS, hello DS. Someone said Priest versus Aleister Black is a. All right, I'll actually display it. Priest versus Aleister Black is a Bingo Hall match. I'm guessing that's Bingo Hall match that was meant to be.
Yeah.
Not even bathroom break. Yeah, he said bingo. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering what I was said, but I guess it was bingo. Yes. So, I mean, I can't see them because of like timings of matches and stuff like that. I can possibly see 2 more matches being added, so that'd be 6 matches each night. I can
Yep.
see because, of course, they're going to want to put segments in and everything like that as well. So, if you think about it, 6 each night is about an average. Well, that's yeah, that would probably be like the average SummerSlam card for the 2 nighters for it, really, if they're going to do
Mhm.
that. So, 12 matches in total, 6 each night. That's all I can see them doing. I can't see them adding any more than that.
Mhm.
Yeah, potentially like what you said, the extra the 6 woman tag or whatever with the Bella, well, with Nikki and Stephanie, and it might even be Nikki, Stephanie, Neo after obviously what went down on Raw. Potentially
Could.
3 coming in. Yeah, versus Secret Harvest and that, and then one of the other ones like what we said. Um, yeah, for it. Gwen, have you heard which night Roman's match is going to be on? Possibly night 1, because I can see them possibly closing night 1 with that one.
Oh
Um,
wow.
or he'll open night 1, if anything. I can't see them putting both the Roman. Well, I can't see them putting both Roman and then the Cena versus Cody match on the same night. I can't see
No,
it.
they're not doing
They're
that.
gonna want to spread it out. So Roman, I do believe, will be on night 1. He's either going to open or he'll close. It just depends whether they want to give Gunther Punk that main event on night 1, or whether they want to give the tag match that main event on night 1. But I have no clue. But yeah, the way which I can see them doing it is the tag match will, if anything, if they're gonna put Gunther Punk in the main event, then the tag match will open SummerSlam, because they're gonna want a big match to open and a big match to close, and
I
that both
think
nights. So I
I
can see it
think
that
it's
way.
gonna I think it's gonna open. I think that Punk is gonna win, so I think they're gonna have a title change. At the end of the show, Punk's been due to win that title for a little while now. So
Yeah,
I mean, they could do Roman in their main event, like it's possible. I just with no title, like I know they did it at WrestleMania and the triple threat with Roman, Seth, and Punk, but
yeah,
I just don't really know if this, with it being Braun and Bronson Reed, I don't know if that's going to main event. I
yeah.
think it opens, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, what we've got to remember as well is this is the first 2 night SummerSlam that they've done, so they're going to want to they're going to want to close both nights with big moments. So obviously, so I personally can see both nights ending with title changes, and that so Punk winning night 1, Cody winning night 2. That's how I can see it. That'd be the biggest thing that they can do for both the nights. Like I said, have the Roman tag match open night 1. That'll then be a big start to the weekend for it. That then gets people hyped and gets them
Hmm.
talking then about the pay per view already from the beginning, and end it then with a Punk win at the end of the show. I can see them potentially doing that for that one. I don't know what would open night 2. I mean, that could be anything at the moment, but
I I
that's where I
think
see them doing it.
I think what they possibly could do, if it was me, I would have Roman and Jay open because they're both so over. Like they did at WrestleMania, they had Jay and Gunther open.
Yeah.
Um, you have Punk and Gunther close, and then maybe the night 2 opener would be Rhea, Io, and Naomi. Because
Yeah,
that's
that's a good
something
opener.
similar to how they did WrestleMania. Is the women have been getting a lot of airtime, so I feel like that's probably what I would do. I would have the women open night 2, and then have Roman and Jay against Braun and Bronson open night 1. That's what I would do.
Yeah, that could work. Yeah, that could work. Yeah, for that one. Yes, so that's obviously we'll have a lot more information by the time we come to do our SummerSlam prediction shows next week, which we'll get into them at the end of this stream. We'll advertise that for next week. So let's just quickly go through then, because you said you wanted to bring up something anyway on Raw. Just tell me when you want to bring it up, because I don't know what you want to bring up. So just obviously just do it that way. Before we do that though, let's just quickly go through some of the comments before we move on, because otherwise I'll start getting confused and do it that way. Uh, yes, maybe it's me, but multi-team matches are stupid. If you can't properly book tag teams, don't just throw people to please them. I agree. I mentioned this. They need more tag teams. They need more tag teams on both brands, well, on all three brands really. Um, it doesn't feel organic just throwing people together, and that just to get those multi-man matches out there. Basically, it doesn't work. It does not work at all. Monty Tavan said, I think Lexi and Charlotte versus Judgment Day opens night 2 could do, yeah, because they're big names as well. They could potentially do that. But I can also then see what CJ's saying as well, because of course Rhea and that is
It's a
about,
title. It's a title match as well. If they do Rhea, Naomi, and Io, they can kick off like they're gonna. If they kick off night 1 with the Roman and Jay, like you're gonna get the crowd hype, and Rhea's super over. Night 2, that for me, I mean Alexa's a super over too, but I feel like if they're gonna like start the shows off with a bang, then I would do like some sort of title match, but we'll see.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. And then the last comment before we move on. So DS then says, if Gunther loses, he is cooked. Not saying he'll win, but there's no coming back from him after tapping out to mid card Jay, sell t-shirts, and then jobbing out to Punk. I mean, I don't agree with that one, but I mean, it's it's that one there. I've just seen a couple more things come in. DS someone said Roman accepting to not close a night. Roman doesn't mind not closing shows. He understands that other talent and that needs to put over. He'll happily open a show. He'll happily do mid card, or he'll happily go in the middle or whatever. I know normally he says either he'll open the shows or he'll close the shows. So I can see him opening 9-1, and that to get the crowd hyped. He'll happily do that. Then he can then just go. Once he's done that, he can just go basically. Gwen, to me, the tag division has been bad since Jimmy and Jay split. The tag team seem weak. Yeah, that's why we need the Usos back as a tag team together. Right, so let's just quickly run through Raw. So Raw opened up with Sheamus versus Rusev, in which Sheamus defeated Rusev. Good match in my eyes. Obviously, there's going to be a third at some point.
Yeah, they're gonna run that back a couple of times for sure.
Yeah, maybe not even a third, maybe a fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Basically, we could have one of those like best of 7 series, like what they done before. We then had the LWO defeat New Day and American Made in a triple threat. Now, El Grande Americano showed up, and quite surprisingly, he obviously caused the LWO to win. And not his own teammates within American Made, which was quite shocking. That's obviously that means now that we've got new number 1 contenders for the World Tag Team Championships being LWO. We then moved in to Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria segment, in which Lynch versus Valkyria at SummerSlam will now be basically a no DQ match, because it's there has to be a winner. So there's no count outs, no disqualifications, anything like that really. And also as well, if I remember rightly, it is if Lyra doesn't win, she can never challenge for the title again. I think I read that somewhere. I can't remember. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So I can see Lyra winning, because I don't think they're going to go down that route of Lyra not winning, especially now with that stipulation on it. It's always the same with WWE. If you hear someone turn around and say, you can never challenge for the title again, they always win the title whenever they have that match, because then that's always how it goes and does it that way. So that's that. Which bit did you want to
I was just gonna touch something brief. It was about the Bellas. Obviously Nikki was on Cody Rhodes pod, but on their show, obviously I mentioned this on our show last week. Brie has changed her bio, but she said on her podcast that she's going to be there SummerSlam weekend, and then she was asked if she was going to be participating, and her answer was very flaky. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's Nikki and Brie and Stephanie against the Secret Service. If not, like that's coming soon. Like she's coming back. So
yeah, definitely, yeah, that's true. We can get into that. We can get in a bit more to that in a minute. And then we had Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez defeating Bailey and Lara Valkyria to retain the women's tag team championships. We knew that was coming. We did. They weren't going to drop. Karrion Kross versus Sami Zayn. Karrion won now. It's come down today. I've literally just seen it drop within the last hour or so, just before we came on. Apparently, Karrion and Scarlett have turned around and said they haven't signed new deals yet. So I don't know whether that means they're staying or whatever, or whether they're keeping it a secret, whether they're going. But yeah, apparently they haven't signed new deals yet. I don't know whether that's true or whatever, but that's the report I've seen come down. And then, of course, we then had Stephanie Vaquer versus Io Sky, in which Stephanie defeated Io by disqualification. When Chelsea Green and the Secret Service cost Vaquer the match. Green and the Hervis attack Vaquer. Naomi then also attacks Io, and Rio makes a save. And then Rio, Io, and Vaquer Santor. I mean, it was a that match just ended in such a mess. Such a mess. None of that was needed really for it. You know, they could have just ended. They could have just given Stephanie and Io in that a good match and done it that way. They did not need all that interference at the end. I understand it's at SummerSlam, but to me, I didn't like that. I did not like that ended at all. And then, of course, we then had the main event segment in which you had the Paul Heyman segment. And obviously Roman then came out, confronted Heyman, and that obviously then got the whole thing where Jay came out and made the save at the end, and obviously done it that way. Yeah, so that was Raw. You got anything else you want to bring up from Raw before we quickly cover NXT quickly or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they re-sign Cross. Like they said, Russell Vogt said that as of right now he hasn't been re-signed, but then they also said that there was going to be a third match with him and Sammy. So hopefully Karrion gets and Scarlett get re-signed. So
yeah, I mean, that's he needs to be re-signed. He needs to be re-signed. Right, so we'll quickly just go through some of the highlights from NXT. So one of the big highlights is we have a new title belt, being it's the new version of the North American Championship, but obviously it's got the Canadian flag on it now. And we then have a match now next week with Santino Marella versus Ethan Page for that title. I found that quite funny. I find that funny that Santino's coming in and challenging him. I did see an interesting theory, and I'm going to quickly touch on this, is does Santino actually wrestle, or do they surprise Ethan Page with somebody else? Now, I've seen some suggestions going around on this post, I can't remember who it was now, of maybe they bring in Nick Nemeth, obviously the old Dolph Ziggler, just to try and pop the crowd, and and basically Nick Nemeth shows up, or obviously where they'd want a Canadian because of the Canadian belt. Really, the only Canadian in TNA is Eric Young. I mean, he's not doing much at the moment and stuff. He's obviously just doing random shops and stuff. So I mean, he could bring Eric Young with him and then try and take that title off of try and get that title over to TNA, because if you think about it, TNA have very limited titles at the moment, so they need another belt. So I personally can see that North American slash Canadian championship going to TNA for a little bit, and they use that one there basically. Yeah, I can see that happening. Obviously, the Undertaker made Trick Williams famous, as he called him, and Taker got some height. That boy went flying. He did. Trick Williams went absolutely flying when Taker chokeslammed him. During NXT, that's the rub to Trick now. Trick's got that Undertaker rub. He's going to do very well wherever he ends up, whichever brand he ends up on after he leaves NXT. He's going to do well because he's had that Undertaker rub. That's a nod for greatness. That one is. So yeah, that's that. I'll just quickly do some of the comments then. So actually, yeah, that's some of the highlights. I don't think there was anything else really. Obviously, Blake Monroe won her debut match, but then Jordan Grace came out afterwards and sort of took her out. Jordan Grace came out afterwards to try and take her out, but Blake DDT'd her onto a steel chair. Jasper Troy defeated Ricky States via count out when Ricky fell through the stage, which was rather weird for that one. That was roughly it. Obafemi retained his NXT championship as well. But yeah, so as we were saying, and so some of the comments, let's quickly go through and do this. Most of them's Ed, so I'll just quickly skip through them. Actually, Gwen turned around and said, Triple H, H books wash, rinse and repeat. What we've got to remember about Triple H, and I know that there's a T-shirt that CJ's actually got on his merch store, is Triple H loves a trilogy. He does. Like, he will, if he can get a trilogy out of something, you're getting that trilogy. You know, no matter what it is, you're getting a trilogy throughout most of the matches and stuff. And this is what personally, I think that Roman's not going to be done anytime soon with Braun and Bronson. They're going to try and get as many matches out of them as physically possible, and that until Steph comes back. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if we do get several matches with Sheamus and Rusev and stuff, and just anything that he can throw into a trilogy, he will do, because he seems to love trilogies, and I don't know why, but that's just his book in there. Ed, we don't want Brie mode. He also then said re-sign and push Karrion Kross. I also want to see Scarlett wrestle a match. I don't know if she ever has. She has in NXT a few times. Stephanie is a Devil's Kiss merchant. And then Roman owns Braun that's meant to be Mike. Braun thinks he's him. Santino needs to continue to mispronounce names, and Blake Monroe is my favorite NXT women's wrestler alongside Fallon Henley. DS. If people still pop for it's meant to be your finisher, I can see the correction underneath. For your finisher, a ridiculous sock cobra puppet that you poke people with that you did 10 years ago. You did a good job. Not many people could pull that off. Yeah, that's true. And I mean, that's what keeps him popular and stuff. And I mean, he got the pop when he pulled that puppet out on Tuesday. And yeah, even Page was scared of a sock puppet for it. Even Page was scared of a puppet snake, basically, for it. But obviously, we know how lethal it is, because that snake took out Mr. Iguana, basically, at AAA. They done a little bit there, and yeah, Mr. Iguana's iguana died because of the cobra. That's how dangerous that one is. So yeah, that was the shows this week. Anything that you can think of to bring up? We do have a little bit of time before the end of the show, but there's a few things I want to go through. So
no, I don't. That's really all I have on the NXT and Raw.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, okay then. So let's just go into a few extra bits and pieces. This is just a few things advertising for next week to get people prepared. On these channels, which will probably be on the X next week again, on the YouTube channels and a couple of other places as well. Next Wednesday, we will be holding next Wednesday. Actually, no, I'll get CJ to explain this one because it's on his channel. So over to CJ about your massive stream on Wednesday. Off you go.
So we obviously had I had my premiere on the EVP show channel. A couple of shorts have dropped. If you want to check those out, I got another one coming. But Wednesday we're gonna have a huge SummerSlam prediction stream. I'm going to have 6 guests on. This is going to be a 7-person panel, so it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of people, a lot of comments. It's gonna be Zero, of course, and then WrestleFaith, Leslie, and Monty from Acknowledge the Dynasty, as well as my Amy the Great and the Final Boss Lady from I can't remember the name of their podcast, and also from DWE.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I was like, I'm trying to think of the name of Miami podcast. I know I just saw it, but it's like not coming out. But yeah, we're gonna have 7-person panel, 6 p.m. Eastern, and then Zero. Obviously, we have you can tell about our show and or whatever.
Yeah, and I'll go into that one. So next Thursday we're going to be doing a double, so we're going to be going back to back. We have at 5 p.m. next Thursday it's going to be a uncut special, which we're going to actually be going live for that one, and it's actually going to be a quiz related show. We've got some guests on which we're going to be doing that one with, and anyone in the comments can also join in as well to go along with it for that one. So that'll be at 5 p.m. next Thursday. It will be general WWE knowledge and SummerSlam questions as well. So if you do want to join in, swat up on your WWE knowledge and your SummerSlam knowledge. And then straight afterwards, we will then be doing the EVP Xero Show. That'll be at 6 p.m. next Thursday as well. Basically for our SummerSlam thing. And then this is now a big announcement as well here. I have put it out in the Discord, but some people aren't in the Discord because, of course, we are streaming to X now as well. Is starting next Friday, that is the 1st, we will be using a brand new platform that we have exclusively made here at DKO. It's called The Front Row. It's basically our own social media kind of that we've made, where there'll be exclusive content on there. And we'll be kicking that off next Friday with a watch along, which will be me and CJ. And we might even have somebody else on as well yet. We're not 100% sure. So that'll be the first ever show on there. That will be free to join in with and watch when it comes to it. All you need to do is make an account and then join us. Making an account is free and you can easily join up. There'll be a lot of exclusive content on there as well when it comes to it, including as of next week, I will be doing exclusively my Q&A. Well, we'll be doing an extended EVP Xero Show edition and doing a special 15-20 minute show on the front row just for questions and answers next week. So that'll be starting from then for there. I know CJ is going to be posting a lot. We've also got some other big people as well coming into it, but we cannot say anything else yet. But there is some big plans for it, so we will get into that one. But yeah, so watch out for that. The link has already gone round. I will also be putting the link in my Twitter bio after this show tonight, so you can join there tonight and get yourself ready. Basically, there is some stuff on there that we've already started posting, and we'll be putting some other bits and pieces on there. Join up now, and yeah, see what you can basically do with it. See how you like it and stuff. But yeah, like I said, it's been built by us guys here at DKO. It's our exclusive platform. It's going to be a non-toxic place like Twitter and stuff like that for it. So yeah, so join up. I will send out the link afterwards. Well, actually, no, I'm going to put it in my Twitter bio. That's going to be the easiest way to do that one. Yeah, so that's that. That's everything there. Yeah, a bit of a different show tonight because of that. We will read some of the other comments before we quickly go off. So let's just go back to some of the comments then. So we had TJ saying, I love the new NXT North American Canadian edition title. Yep. Yeah. I mean, most of the Canadians love it as well, to be fair. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the other announcement as well. Ed just reminded me we have SmackDown Island returning tomorrow as well on X. Don't forget to tune into there. You will be seeing me. You'll be seeing me on SmackDown Island, and there's an exclusive giveaway on there as well of $25 for somebody. I believe you've got to like the tweet, retweet the tweet, and join the Hall of SmackDown Island tomorrow to be in for the qualifications. So join there, and one lucky person will win $25 plus a load of other exclusive merchandise and other bits and pieces as well. DS, did we ever get R-Truth versus Santino match? That would be one for the ages. I don't think we did. Acknowledge the Dynasty said their show is called Talk It Up.
Yeah, Talk It Up. Yep.
Yeah. Ed, I'll be on too. Oh, is that for tomorrow? Oh, yeah, Talking Up with Miami. I think he's on. Russ Faith said, hello, gents. Hello, Russ Faith. Joined quite early in there. But yeah, that's fine. So, yeah, so that's the show this week. Thank you for joining us on our new look EVP Xero Show and our new locations, which, yeah, we'll be doing this every week where we will now be streaming on X and, well, CJ's X and also on my YouTube. We'll be doing that one on, so it's on both locations there for you to see that one. And I will also say as well that from tonight as well, all of these shows that we do on here, if you do want to watch them back and you don't want to go to YouTube, we will be posting them on the new platform, The Front Row. That'll be literally all of our shows. That'll be from tonight. There'll be, well, it'll be more. It'll be any time from after this show finishes within a 24-hour period. It'll be posted, and that'll be for every show going forward, including any Twitter Spaces that we do as well, and any of our shows dedicated from the people at DKO will be posted on there, so you can go back and listen to them at any time. Plus, as well, like I said, some exclusive things that we are not yet revealing, but there's going to be quite some interesting things coming to that platform. So don't don't miss out on it, really. Yeah, so thank you for tuning in. This was Xero for this week. I'll pass you over to my co-host just to sign out his little bit there, and we'll sort of take from there.
Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. We got a lot of stuff coming, like Xero said, a lot of stuff. So thanks for tuning in. I'm the EVP, and I will see you guys tomorrow night on SmackDown Island.
Yes, we'll see you tomorrow on SmackDown Island. Don't miss it. Goodbye.